Hi everyone, I wanted to share a little update about what's going on behind the scenes at the fourth layer. For those that might not know, this is something I do for fun. It's not my full-time, and this does take a lot of time on my end. So I am sincerely sorry that I wasn't able to post a video last week, as I tried to post weekly on Substack as well as YouTube. With that being said, I have a thing about not wanting to haphazardly and recklessly put information out on the internet just to meet a timeline, especially when it comes to things such as layered existentialism, because in my opinion, there's so much false information or misinformation on the internet, and I don't want to contribute to that. Especially there are some things that we're talking about that's very fact-based, such as sciences, such as like neuroscience and biology and psychology, and I don't want to misspeak because I'm trying to rapidly put something together to meet some timeline that I put together myself. So that's a little bit about that. And another update is that I have also been spending time on creating a white paper on layered existentialism. It's actually now published on OSF, which is Open Science Framework. Feel free to go on it and read it and check it out if you choose to do so. Let me know what your thoughts are on it. The next one is that one of the purpose of me putting this on YouTube and on Substack is to just getting the ideas out there, because I think it's fun to talk about life and the constraints of life and about philosophy and talking about like abstract things. And I know this is not for a lot of people, at least especially because that is what a lot of the feedback is from people that are normally around me or that is close to me. But it's very important to me at this stage of where layered existentialism is that I start opening it up for public exploration and for feedback and for critiques as well. So I personally chose Reddit because it seems like quick isn't necessarily a good thing, right? But to me, I specifically chose Reddit because it was in a way quicker to expose it to more people. And the two forums that I chose was philosophy as well as psychology. For those that are new to layered existentialism, it's pretty much, it's a synthesis of a lot of interdisciplinaries. But specifically, I chose psychology and philosophy this time around. As I have presumed this was going to happen, the philosophy page definitely was more like, well, I see it this way, this matches the paradigm that I was also working on. And then there are ones that are like, well, have you researched into, like, let's say Buddhism? How does that apply to that? How does this intersect? How does it not intersect, and things of that nature? And so it was incredibly insightful to see that. And then for the psychology page, and because of how some of these forums are moderated, I got this onto an academic psychology forum. And it was actually really insightful. It was wonderful. There were a lot of critiques. There were feedback such as, there are so many frameworks out there. Like, how does this make it any better? How does it make it not any better? And so it made me really think about this in more of that arena. I personally am not in academia. I personally read a lot of peer-reviewed journals and academic papers, but I'm not in that specific field. So it was nice to hear those. Well, it was nice to read those feedbacks from those that are actually in those fields and those that are actual professors. And then they introduced new models and things for me to research, which I was incredibly excited for. Next, well, I guess last thing, and that has been happening on this end, is that I have finally decided to go ahead and create a website. Big disclaimer, I don't code, I am not a programmer, but I don't know why my logic is like this, but because I have put all of these things together, I've created the Fourth Layer podcast, I am synthesizing an ongoing body of work on layered existentialism, I'm creating all of these things, and I'm like, you're just going to go ahead and create this website by yourself. And so I have put together this website, as you can imagine, with the use of AI to help me, specifically ChatGPT. And I am proud to say that this website is live. And feel free to go to it if you want to see what it looks like. It is, my heart smiles because just the experience of going through that and to like code and develop this website honestly was so much fun for me. I didn't think I was going to like it, but it was one of those things that I was just like, yeah, I'm going to just do this to do this. The website is up. It does work. It's explorethefourthlayer.com. With the layer, it's 1R. So explorethefourthlayer with 1R.com. It works. It houses all of the podcast information, what the Fourth Layer is about, the research, and a way to contact me. There's also links to the OSF, the white paper about, actually I have a survey out, so eventually I might start taking ways to see how this thing is testable, etc., etc. But it honestly, I'm smiling and semi-laughing because I'm just thinking back to the time that I was creating this website, and I can tell you guys, there has been times where I was trying to figure out something like that it would not reflect on the website that I was like coding, and it was one of those like back and forth things that I've been trying to work on. And again, I don't really have experience in it, and so for example, the contact form, it took me about 3 hours to figure out this problem, why I couldn't get it submitted. The HTML wasn't work. I don't even have the lingo for it. But all I'm going to say is I spent like 3 hours on it. I would be lying if I said that I didn't want to smash my face against the keyboard repeatedly. I did not. But it works now, I think. My direct email is on there too if it doesn't work. But feel free to go check it out. It's really simple. It's very plain. And I know that there's like a lot of super cool websites out there. Maybe one day mine would be like that. But I kind of actually like how like simple and plain it is. But it works, I think. Let me know if it doesn't work. I will try to figure it out. But that's something else that is new that's been happening behind the scenes at the Fourth Layer. Lastly, I guess I could just bring this up, but lastly, I just wanted to share some of my thoughts when it comes to my YouTube videos. For those that are unfamiliar with my YouTube videos, normally I would read my Substack writing because it's the same topic, but from written version, I do it in a speaking version. And with that too, I would add commentary, but it's one of those things that I realize how this is not how I would normally present information. To me, this is the equivalent if I were to have a PowerPoint presentation and have everything in like bullet format and then just read everything. And I was like, this is just not the best way for me to present information. It's very rigid for how I normally present information. And so I'm going to do it in a more just casually speaking about it. And I hope that this is something that will be entertaining and fun for you as well, because personally for me, I find deep pleasure and joy in life by talking about life and to talk about philosophy and to talk about the absurdity of things and to laugh at the absurdity of life. Also, it's one of those things that I wish that people would have more conversation about it, right? There are constraints about being human, and this is what layered existentialism is, and what is the meaning of life? Why are we here? And what increases or decreases suffering at the individual level, society level, and then everything that's in between that, and that's where layered existentialism comes from. But this specifically the fourth layer, like let's talk about it, let's explore this idea and these things together. As well, let's bring humor into the game, right? We're in this crazy thing called life, and sometimes when we cope and cope and cope until we can't cope anymore, I think laughing is a pretty good secondary cope, if not tertiary, or however much that we have done in life. But with that being said, I am so sincerely grateful that you're here. I love hearing people's feedbacks on this. Obviously, I'm putting videos out and writing out, and I would like to have more flexibility, and so that's what I'm providing for myself. And I would love to hear your feedback. I would love to hear your critique. It's because we're in this crazy thing called life together. But with that being said, thank you so much for being here. Have fun exploring my website. It is, to me, I'm sure that when you look at it, you're like, there's nothing special about it. To me, like the emotion that came behind creating that website is what has brought a lot of laughter and joy to my life these past few weeks. And with that being said, I hope you have such a wonderful, wonderful day. And I look forward to hearing from you if you need to reach out to me for whatever reason. And with that being said, I'll see you next time.